Hello and welcome to the Great Cosmic Shift. This is your host Cyrus, and tonight we have a message from the Archangel Diadara. Diadara was one of my original contacts from about a year and a half ago as my telepathic clairaudience skills blossomed. Now, with Diadara, let's just say I've quite a history with her, including manifestation experiences where I have physically met with her. And I will say that this is part of this whole new wave of experiences and connections I have. But my original experiences began about 2014, which I chronicle in my first book. It's just back then, well, those were the early days. And about a year and a half ago, the mental syncing powers kicked in very strongly. And I end up with this entire crazy team. Diadara becomes what she calls the patron saint of Facebook because she ends up actually visiting and communicating with many members of Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics on Facebook. Now, before we get to this message, just a couple quick points. Number one, you might be here from Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics on YouTube. I always appreciate it. If anyone goes to that old channel, lets people know in comments that that channel is defunct, kaput because it was all hacked. I cannot access it. But you can send people to this channel. You can also get involved at Afterlife Topics on Facebook or Afterlife Topics on Reddit, which is the screen we have up right now, where I have this whole article posted, including some concept art of Diadara by a very lovely artist who, of course, I would say was probably subconsciously channeling what Diadara actually looks like, because I've met with Diadara physically. And how can anyone be this beautiful on, anywhere? Well, we're talking about the higher densities. We're talking about that side of life where it is possible for women to be this beautiful. It's we're in the lower earth, the lower density, the crappy neighborhood, and it's not, it's not how it is up there. And I always like to remind people that's the real place. It's not the astral plane where everything is just created by thoughts. A lot of this terminology has been badly and at times, shall we say, purposefully misconstrued. So, with that said, let's go ahead and jump into this. And by the way, hitting that subscribe button really helps. What I'm going to do actually is run the intro, so we have a chance to catch our breath, maybe get a drink of water, come on back. And let's listen to this message by the Archangel Diadara of the Archangelic Order, who is, shall we say, a major spirit guide for people on Earth. Okay, and here we go. Okay, and we are back. All right, so, and one more thing, I always like to let people know, sometimes I get contacts by people who are patrons of my former channel. So that Patreon is patreon.com/Afterlife Topics. You can sign up there if you want to support the work I do, or just contact me directly at cosmicshiftawakening@gmail.com. Donations, all that kind of stuff always helps keep this channel going. But if you donated in the past, you didn't receive anything back from me, messages back, or maybe a reading or something like that, just contact me so we can make it up, okay? There doesn't have to be like a big issue about that, because I was away for months and it's out of my control. I wish it hadn't been, okay? So I'll have to keep that in mind. Okay. We are at today's communication with the Archangel Diadara with some important messages. So this is just me talking right now before I began the clairaudient communication. As a preamble to this communication, I should note I began communicating with the Archangelic Order through connections that were present my whole life. They came into focus around late spring of last year. I'd like to point out that I began this journey as a paranormal researcher and journalist. Recently, I discovered my past life. Interestingly enough, this is true. as a metaphysical researcher living in a very normal human world, and this carried with me to this life. So I actually have a past life I found out about where I worked as, well, it's funny, interesting enough, I guess I was actually a banker. If you see me a little bit distracted just then, because I can do fast-paced mental frequency connections. So for a moment I sent out the thought to Diadara herself about who was I in this past life, and I was a banker. And so it's very interesting because I don't know if I had that real tendency in this life. However, my past life, I was also a metaphysical researcher, and I was into all this stuff, and I wasn't even from this world. Okay, so I found myself in a family that was tailored for this work. That's this family. And my soul group, this is me talking, was my past life soul group, which was known as the Jonas. This group and other friends helped tailor my consciousness to remove some bad genetic predispositions. So I was born into a family after my past life, and some of the people in my family are a little bit cuckoo. So what they did is they actually found ways, my soul group, to tinker my genetic switches so I'm less predisposed in my new life to, let's just say, a whole bunch of things. I don't know, alcoholism, issues here, things that would dissuade me from my path. And so that's a little bit about me. And so I grew up with a special power to be less receptive to the collective consciousness. So what does this do? It allows me to channel accurate information in ways others cannot. How? The Jonas has a field of power around me that keeps me from feeling the intense collective psyche-based peer pressure that would otherwise inhibit channeling. So the biggest enemy to channeling, the biggest enemy, to telepathy, is often ourselves and our ability to connect, and the collective psyche peer pressure not to do it. We are living in this weird physical earth-based, what they call earthism, where nothing can exist that's supernatural. And what this does is say it creates this like sense of peer pressure around people. And this peer pressure, what it does is like you don't want to communicate because you feel like this is weird, this is wrong, am I going crazy? And it makes it difficult for people to be proper telepaths. So what this means is that it allows me to maintain accurate communications that are very hard for others to do. And to top it off, I found out that I have an Ashtari bloodline that I was inserted as well, including a cousinship to a woman named Minarasa, also known as Minerva by our mythologies. So who are the Ashtar? Google them. There's a lot of kooky info, but I always direct people to the 1977 Vril Law and Broadcast across England, where they made their presence very known. They're Andromedans. And sometimes, rarely, they will seed their actual genetics onto this planet. And sometimes it's their actual queen, Minarasa, who's the one doing it. And that's why I began communicating to Minarasa as well last year. And Diadara, well, she's a friend of Minarasa. And so Minarasa was the former queen of the Ashtari civilization from the Andromeda galaxy. She and others became highly involved in my life as I began to work with the Archangelic Order in 2021, beginning operations to integrate the collective psyche and put enormous pressure on and ultimately toppling the Cabal, known as the Sons and Daughters of Zion. And this is a cult group that, let's just say, they bastardized the ancient Jewish Kabbalah and turned it into something hideous. Now, of course, I'm not the one who destroyed the Cabal, but lots of effort through the Archangelic Order, powerful groups like the Anshar, which includes the Queen Kari. You can even Google them because they are in communication to many people on Earth. All came together with a lot of operations that I found myself involved in last year. Why? Because I wanted to be, because I knew about this group, I knew about it from the internet, I knew about people's insider experiences. I found myself with Diadara and others participating in a lot of weird, crazy operations last year, which, adding everything up, led to the dismantling of the Cabal's underground society and their power structure, while their above ground power structure is still in place. Okay, this is all good because I'm letting people know, the audience know a little bit of what kind of work I do, and the kind of work I do with the Archangel Diadara. So thus I fulfilled this most unexpected role in regard to my self-appointed purpose on Earth, with a very astonished soul group and a very weathered Cyrus after dealing with so many enormous experiences. I have photographs, I have weird, crazy stuff. Okay. Among the work performed from 2021 to 2022, as the title that sometimes we're given is The Heralds of Magic, The Heralds of Change. And there's quite a few of us now on Afterlife Topics and the same communications. People who mentally sync and are involved with trying to help Gaia get its crap together. We are kind of given this title of people who are trying to direct the collective psyche into a positive timeline, a positive future. Now, we still haven't gone into Diadara's message yet, but this is all what I wrote for the Reddit article. Okay. So many people on Earth join what's known as the Sanctum of Sanity Soul Collective. So what is that? What it means is that people all over the Earth unified their consciousness in an effort to unify their power to stop evil. That's the summary of it. It's called Sanctum of Sanity, or SOS. It's an SOS call out to the cosmos saying, save us, save our planet. So that explains a lot of the amazing paranormal phenomena happening around the world right now, not to mention, as I'm putting up this video, crazy UFO sightings happening all over the world, and things are just coming together right now. And the core of it is actually us, the SOS Soul Group that formed around the Earth to save its butt, the SOS Soul Group. If you're watching this, you probably belong to it as well. You might have an entire subconscious part of your life, happens while you're dreaming. It's the little partition parts of your consciousness connecting into the soul group and everyone communicating, sharing information, and doing operations. It's amazing, but this is the power of Earth, because Earth is a very powerful planet, and we all have this almost creator deity level power inside of us. Anyone born upon sacred Gaia. This is why the Anunnaki were so interested in our planet. It's the origin of Atlantis and all of that, because of the power of Gaia, sacred Gaia. Okay, so I found myself with unexpected friends like Diadara, whose real name is actually Achroma, and is the end result of an unbelievable Aldmari, Andromedan, secret, superpowered entity experiment. Diadara was unleashed upon the cosmos only to find she was such a sweet girl. She said, screw you guys, and went off to sign up as an archangel. So she's call her a military experiment, basically. That's who Diadara is. Because the Aldmari, millions of human worlds out in the galaxy, peaceful worlds, but sometimes cuckoo worlds, and Diadara is the result of that. Okay, Diadara, as I would later name her, so she came out of that experiment, got to know me, and she's like, Cyrus, you're a really good writer, you're good at coming up with names. Do you have a name for me, possibly? And so I'm good at putting syllables together, and like, no. How about Diadara? So she said, like, I love the name Diadara, so she calls herself Diadara, but it's not her original name. So she ends up a major ally and spirit guide in my life and many other people's lives, and amidst so many challenges that have had to be faced in 2022, this year, including dismantling an enemy soul collective called the Fun to Be Evil Soul Collective. So this is also a whole other subject. It has to do with how this year sociopathic individuals formed their psychic collectives and were battling the good guys. It's so black and white, but this is the underground, subconscious, psychic battles that happen on Earth for our destiny. And it's been a long process to get the bad guys out, and then we can experience the fruits of our labor just by walking out the door. It's how we interact with each other. It's we'll notice those subtle changes. So many unbelievable, crazy things also happened last year in the greater cosmos. Okay, so finally that leaves this message tailored by Diadara to help clear up some of the major misconceptions about life on Earth, the hereafter, the abominable activities of the soul collective / hollow heavens, and their false light teachings, plus a few nods to all the great channelers out there. People actually like, there's a guy named Daniel Scranton, who channels the Arcturians, and lately his messages have been spot on. but sometimes they suffer from interference without complete accuracy. So that's something Diadara wanted me to mention here as well. Okay, so with that said, under the message by Diadara, she has midnight blue wings, brunette hair, and is dressed to kill. This is her. Okay, I'm now writing as Diadara, so everything from here on is my message. It's not me writing. This is from here on entirely me just dictating her message. Okay. Hello to everyone. How funny is this? That I can be talking through my channel, just typing up a storm, while also being a woman from another world entirely from yours. So let's start addressing this part. Your world exists in a state of psychological duress, where people will not collectively accept certain areas of information as real. We call this physicalism or earthism. You may think you can accept the existence literally of angels or extraterrestrials or magical beings, but often it's not possible. Here is why. It is not possible because if you try to place yourself in such a world via literal imaginings, you go through what's called the spectrum of imagination. This is the same spectrum your favorite games and stories fall into. For example, somewhere in your heart is Harry Potter and Narnia. That's the same place you'd put my world of Shannara, a world of angelic power, into. Especially if you were to read descriptions of what my world is like. And so exists Harry Potter, Narnia, Shannara. Do you see the problem? The issue is that my world is a higher universe than yours, where people are taken into after they pass away, which by itself is too fantastic to believe. Yet people do believe it, and they place it in their hearts in the realm of imagination, which sounds lovely, but it's also a problem, because this existence is still real life and must be accepted as such. Many struggle with this very hard. And so like what Diadara is saying here is just like, you know, if you go back on the Reddit page and read the article of the woman Lizelle or Lizorna, who the girl from the Middle Ages who passes away, goes up into the higher reality, the afterlife. The whole description, it's pretty damn breathtaking. And it's trying to parse this kind of magical reality that our souls can manifest into with real life. Because our real life is paying bills and dealing with jobs that are so bad to us. I mean, I know a girl who works at the gas station. They don't even let her sit on a chair. Like, she has to be on her feet like for not 10 hours, and she could get fired for sitting down. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff that my team, when I communicate to them, they consider this inconceivable. That's how screwed up and stupid our culture is. So we have to parse our crappy lives with what? We have to parse that with these beautiful magical realities. We can't really do it. I can't really do it. I can communicate, but I don't know what the heck is going on up there. I don't know how to be part of that world. I would have to integrate into it somehow, and that's the challenge. Because again, I'm totally disconnected. Hell, I suffer from skepticism and loss of faith all the time. My team tells me something amazing is going to happen. The cosmos might change, you know? Like the stars are going to be different. I look outside, the stars are different. But I just have a difficult time, no matter how many miracles I am shown during this whole process. Like sometimes my faith still goes down. Because this is my reality. It's not this reality. It's not a reality where you see someone this beautiful walking around, you know? And this is the problem of the earth, and it's the collective psyche that doesn't allow this kind of stuff to just begin manifesting like it does on the higher densities, the higher cosmos. All right, well, where are we? Okay, and so exists Harry Potter, Narnia, and Shannara. Do you see the problem? The issue is that my world is a higher universe than yours, where people are taken into after they pass away, which by itself is too fantastic to believe. Yet people do believe it. They place it in their hearts in the realm of imagination, which sounds lovely, and I already said all this, but it's also a problem. Okay. My world is what is known sometimes as higher density and also supernal. We exist within what you may call the Eye of Horus, or the 6th crown chakra ever present. We exist in a dance within the spirit reality. This is why many mistake my world and surrounding worlds as the astral plane. Sometimes people do go into the spirit world, the astral plane. Okay, your civilizations accurately identify this as the Bardo state. Diadara says, well, guess what? The Bardo state must be avoided at all costs. But on the contrary, it's the supernal reality that is your afterlife. Now, some people who are longtime fans of me before this new channel may remember like a really beautiful looking eye that I have in my book, I have in my Afterlife Topics Facebook page. What does that logo represent? Well, I channeled it without realizing it, but it means the supernal eye, the eye of Horus, the divine eye, which is a different mode of existence from down here. When you activate into the supernal, it's like your whole right brain, the God switch as they call it, is active. This is what people experience in near-death experiences. The God switch becomes active, and everyone's entire existence becomes flowing out in a magical state, and you kind of are going through life individual yet one with everything around you. And this is a state many great like teachers, yogis, mystics aspire towards. To be into the higher cosmos means you are automatically in that state of existence. You can switch kind of on and off, but it's that existence. And that's what Diadara is talking about here, about how different their reality is to us. People visit our worlds and think it's a strictly spirit reality, and so they do not process it as real. So they do not ask questions like, what is the name of your planet? What is the name of the street I'm on? Who is the political ruler? Okay, so what Diadara is saying is basically many people have astral projection experiences and think they are in the spirit world mental state where you just create anything you want with your mind. They experience the higher cosmos, the densities, there's different names for it. I call it the afterlife or heaven, and they do not realize that it's a real, tangible, solid world. They think that it's the astral where we just create crap with our minds all day. Where the astral is real, I've been there many times. It's a mental reality, like a giant shared lucid dreamscape. The supernal reality, they use the astral reality to go between universes and worlds and visit us here. Diadara can be up there, she jokes, like eating bonbons, watching soap. This is like soap operas, this is what she jokes about. She can simultaneously appear around us as a spirit form, because they have the ability to dance with both realities. But they always stress it's a mistake for people to say that we are some kind of non-physical being. It's like, no, we are supernal beings, but we're not non-physical. You start thinking that, believing that, disconnects your world from our world. So this is the issue with spiritism. This is the problem with spiritism. See, spiritism, what it does is it focuses too much on the astral, but it's not the astral. See what I mean? It's not the astral. So on the internet, there's that spiritism, not spiritualism, but spiritism. Spiritism, what it does is it's that supreme focus on the mental reality, which can lead into, let's say, the hollow heavens, right? It can lead into our Bardo states, where you go into a reality where you decide, I'm going to be, I'm going to be a celebrity, I'm going to create a reality. Then you can just, you can create that with your mind, but it is hollow. The supernal reality is not. Okay. So then she says, like, so people go into the astral reality, or they go into the supernal reality. They think it's the astral reality. They think it's all mental. They think they're just manifesting it out of their minds. So they do not start asking tangible, objective questions. So what that means is that people think it's all being produced in their own brains, so they don't realize that it's real. Well, what did I start doing? How did I end up in this path? I began going into those worlds and being like, what's the name of your world? Where am I? What is this place like? Who are the rulers? Is it a planet or is it a plane of existence? And discovering firsthand exactly what's going on. Okay. So Diadora, just to reiterate what I said, that D says no one visits our realities and asks these questions because they believe it's a manifested, non-objective world created by imagination. Wrong. These are real worlds, higher density planets. So you have some awesome teachers on your side who've written books about out-of-body experiences, journeys out of the body, going into the light, all of it. And people on your world gobble this information up. So much of it becoming the actual new spiritual framework of your planet, which is both good and bad, I'm sorry to say. Well, guess what? No one outside of my channel, Cyrus, and a few others ever approached this area with objective identification. These are souls who step outside of imagination and consider such an experience as real, tangible, and connected to our current life. This is very hard to do, everyone. Your society is culturally brainwashed to believe nothing exists but Earth. This cultural brainwashing sucks the life essence from your souls. This is on purpose, to also stifle your planet, force people into insane consumerist ideas, insane corporate ideas, dehumanizing philosophies about professionalism, and complete misinformation about subjects like bodily death. Okay. So Diadora continues. So what about my life, my existence? I am 530 million years old, from an ancient society in the Andromeda galaxy. But not your Andromeda galaxy. Until your world migrates into our universes, there's a disconnect. So what does this mean? Well, let's keep going. There are higher density, higher dimension universes out there. It goes up to what is known as 7D, or 7th density / 7th dimensional. Sometimes misinformation does arise, such as 8D or 9D. In fact, it is only 4 gradients. Your lowest gradient, the 3D, 4D world, up to 5D, 6D, and 7D. So 4 layers like a wedding cake. And what is the difference? The difference, everyone, is supernal existence, or the Eye of Horus, or the Eye of Divinity. People arise here and gain access to the power to manifest themselves in a supreme, magical way, with a magical mind that extends far beyond what your civilizations are capable of doing. This power allows us to exist in a way that is higher dimensional than your reality. The process of ascension of your planet would involve this power gradually being introduced to your people. So this is a lot to digest. You may need to go on to the Reddit, reread this. But basically we're talking about what it would mean for Earth to ascend into their level. That there's these concepts we hear online, 5D, 6D, 7D. There's only 4 layers of it. We're at the bottom. And these are supernal existences, but these are other planets. It's our cosmos. So if we were to fly a spaceship to the Andromeda galaxy, there'd be no Ashtari civilization there. Not in our universe. Switch up into the higher supernal universe. There's your Ashtari civilization, once ruled by Queen Minerva, who are so involved upon our planet. Okay. Diadora continues. This is important. Gaining the great supernal power while turning you into a supernatural being does not always equate to morality of character and soul. So to gain that Eye of Horus that she's talking about, the supernal eye, doesn't necessarily make you into automatically some kind of a chosen, beautiful, karmic force. Ascension doesn't mean we all, this is again the false light teachings, like we all have a higher self that's morally pure. And Jeffrey Dahmer is actually a beautiful soul teaching us lessons. Actually, it turns out all of those ideas are basically evil. I can mention unfortunately New Age authors who literally say that. Gotta say, I'm hesitant because for a moment there I was communicating with Diadara. Okay, so I've been trying, because I don't want to call people out or cause friction, but I've called this name out before because it's a dangerous book. It's a very dangerous book, and it's by an author named Robert Schwartz. And this book, well, I would say, I don't even remember the name of it. I think I X'd it out of my mind. But he has one of his famous books where he says, let's just say the worst criminals in existence are in heaven, because we all have a higher self that's perfect and beautiful, and evil is not real, and the worst stuff imaginable is actually just lessons for us. The Holocaust, it's so beautiful. Like literally, it's like the Archangelic Order says that those teachings on our planet is insanity and criminal. Okay, in fact, I'm going to speak as Diadara right now real quick. Those teachings are morally bankrupt and actually hurt society so much it has led to societies in the higher cosmos, the supernal realities, to completely fall apart into moral decay. A higher supernal reality means that we are interconnected in a divine way, in a way that you might not be able to understand from your level of consciousness. Higher consciousness does not equate to morality. If a civilization decides to put morality on the back burner, then what will happen is that you can therefore create a civilization that believes that the interconnected feeling is in fact some kind of a fantasy reality where they can get away with anything they want and suck the power from everybody around them using the interconnected supernal power in a negative, hurtful, even evil way, which is what we would call the fall of heaven, the fall of grace, or the fall of the angels from Eden. So much must be understood within the metaphorical and literal context of your Holy Bible. Excuse me. So much must be understood because the very fall of Eden, the fruit of knowledge itself, has grand elements of divine truth, which are the lessons that must be carried forth, including that's a civilization known as Yalandra from eons ago, 702 to 701 septillion years ago. This civilization ruled creation and fell from grace by pursuing the fruit of knowledge and abandoning the morality of character that should come with the divine supernal power. We must never forget this and fall victim to the, shall we say, false prophets of your world that would go so far as to say, there is no evil, do as thou wilt. That shall be the whole of the law. Wait, I believe your Church of Satan says this. I would wager a guess that they meant it half-heartedly, given that they're not exactly on our list of the worst criminal offenders. I would say aspects of the false light teachings of the New Age community take this to an absurd level, whereby they will feel as if you can do anything you want, hurt people, and it's just a part of the lessons of life, because we all become God again. Of course, it neglects the Antichrist spectrum of reality. Yes. Now I want Cyrus to just continue with this message as it is written. I apologize if Cyrus seemed a little bit distracted here and there. I am sort of working in mysterious ways by kind of jumping into Cyrus's thoughts and helping push things along with this message because it's so valuable. I want people to know you can talk to me just by listening to this or reading my article. Focus on the beautiful channeled artwork of me and go into your mind's eye and say, begin communication with Diadara, and then do some like clap your hands. and that will secure it within your psyche, and wait until you feel my presence come around you, because I am a goddess, so I can be in hundreds of places at once, even with you. And then you will hear me and feel my voice, hear my voice, I should say, enter into your thoughts. And you can communicate just like Cyrus is doing. I won't bite. As long as you understand that it's natural, it's no big deal, and you can overcome those limitations, those barriers of this communication, and anyone can do this, which is why Cyrus is not a prophet of divine power, like some people might think, because he can do this. Cyrus is a saint, in my opinion, actually, for the work he does, but we must move away from ideas of prophets who have the ability to speak to the angels. I'm up here with angels like Michael and Gabriel as well, and many others. And of course, Jophiel, otherwise known as Florella. There's a man named Emmanuel Swedenborg. I've met him. Very funny, very nice guy. I should point out that this is all part of my reality, and anyone can communicate with us, including everyone from the archangels, known as even those supernal deities known in your mythologies, like Pisces. She is real. She is with us as well. So many, but it does not mean that we are souls so far beyond your own that we are so far up here, you're down here. No. We can be a part of your lives, and we will be a part of your lives. You'll see us walking around as it's happening right now. In fact, so many changes are happening in the heavens. Okay, I'm going to turn back to Cyrus, and Cyrus, I'll get out of your thoughts. I just needed to help you here and there with this message, because it's very important for people to understand that anyone can talk to me. What matters is the work you do and your commitment to the Holy Spirit, because I am 530 million years old, and what am I? I am a Christian. I believe in the power of Christ consciousness and also unity between Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, and the many other great faiths that have its roots in the supernal truth. And back to Cyrus. Okay, so there you go. That was me talking as Diadara. Easy as it can be, because basically I'm just transcribing what she's telling me. It's not her taking over me like Whoopi Goldberg and Ghost. No, I'm just speaking. She's saying this, and then she's like, "Oh, excuse me." Like I'm taking. She could be up there being, "Hold on, I'm taking a sip of water." Like, "Hold on, okay, I'm back." Like it's that two-way street. Okay. So the light of God is real. On your internet there is a knowledge that spreads to avoid the light. What this means really is to avoid the fake light of the hollow heavens, as we name it. This leads to Bardo imitations of heaven that are very convincing, yet spread morally bankrupt philosophy, the hollow heavens. Fake heavenly states created by fundamentalist religions over centuries on your world became a chief threat to your planet, with archonic forces masquerading as the true supernal higher cosmos. To resist this is simple. Choose to avoid the soul collectives when you pass away. Reach out to the Archangelic Order. We are huge and are based upon a higher density version of Greece. That's right. Our headquarters is in Delphi. Reach out to us with intent as you are passing away, and we'll get you into the true reality. Now, before we finish, as we are keeping this pithy, how to comprehend us. This is the next major battle, and it involves separating from imagination to reality, and also accepting the possibility of transformation of soul. That Eye of Horus activation is real. In essence, this is something, hold on. This is Diadara speaking. You can also think of this as elements of the Kundalini activation that occurs in some people, but spread out and continuous. And those within the Sanctum of Sanity Soul Collective, if you practice mental syncing, you can begin talking to some of us who can help activate it within you. You'll have a very wild ride as you begin integrating into it. So this is the key, everyone, to higher understanding and profound experiences, the likes of which your world has not yet seen before. Okay. Okay, okay, to continue with this article, she says, our existence involves supernatural power, the ability to manifest ourselves, experience things beyond your imagination. And what is it also like? Well, what's it like on the higher supernal, higher density cosmos? Being stuck in traffic jams in the higher density New York city of Shaykhara, which by the way looks very 1920s in style, going to Burger King in your 20s style Roadster, and watching the latest film by actor James Dean. Point out that you got Marilyn Monroe up there as well. Just want to let you guys know who I've communicated to. In our assembly of worlds, there's other nearby planets, like a world called Maldraza, a 6th density world like ours, which is incidentally, that's actually where Marilyn is, where some well-known figures live, like Nikola Tesla and his research institutes. So if you ever follow Sonia Rinaldi's work, which you can put that in, Sonia Rinaldi, that is actually where Nikola Tesla communicates and brings images through. Okay. Plus a man named Steve Jobs, who among the higher earths runs Apple computers. It's true. To comprehend us, understand we have this great supernal power. And by virtue of being here, your mind and even body will undergo a transformative state. However, this subject and the fantastic nature of the actual existence of magic all go through a great mental barrier that it does not exist in actual reality. So I have a message coming in from Diadara, so let me connect to her. Okay, everybody, this is Diadara. We're about to finish my message. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing this out. I just want to say one thing for historical records. The Earth is going through a change. There's funny stuff happening in the night sky. In the news, as they're talking about UFOs hanging around the Big Dipper. And this is how we're operating. This is how some of our friends, Azura is one of them, they're out there really, really integrating everybody into a new universe. Seems impossible, seems unlikely. I just want people to understand that this is what's happening. And how do we get through it? By understanding that most of us are within that Sanctum of Sanity Soul Collective, the SOS, which is allowing us to accept changes, which is why bit by bit, you'll notice more and more cosmic changes in the sky. Especially stargazers might notice, why is that star there and not here? It's all going to keep getting moved around to help integrate masses into getting out of Earthism. And as it gets out of Earthism, that means the ability to understand exactly the fact that not only are you not alone, not only is, well, I am afraid of the YouTube censors, let's say, as passing away, is not what people think it is. It's the migration of souls through manifestation power into new realities, and pure, good karmic souls can go to endless magical realities, return, reincarnate, and progress as souls develop and transform, which we should not be afraid of, because this is how life is up here. Okay, with that said, let Cyrus finish it off, and enjoy the rest of your fall, and happy Halloween, my favorite holiday. Wait a second, angels don't have black wings and like Halloween. I must be going to hell. Well, I'm sorry to say it. That's what the stupid people of your world would believe just by seeing me, because of the indoctrinations and programming of those hollow heavens who didn't like me very much, especially as I cut Catherine the Great's head off with a sword, who was running many of the hollow heavens. Oh yes, it gets very, very crazy here at the Archangelic Order. Okay, farewell and blessings. Okay, well, all right. So to finish off the article side of things, so Dee writes, how do we get through that? The final point is this: faith. Place everything I wrote into your heart, keep it there, and try to talk to us. Fill your heart with faith that your cold, broken, physicalist, cabal-controlled reality is not all of existence. We can all enjoy reality so far beyond your civilization that it truly is the kingdom of God. Amen. So, let's read that again. We can all enjoy realities so far beyond your civilization that it truly is the kingdom of God. And that is actually what heaven is like, and I've seen it, because I was at the world of Shaykhara is what we would think of as heaven. Okay, good night.